Friday evening, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Higher Summits forecast for the upcoming weekend. Of course, my name is Francis Tarasiewicz, and I'm coming to you from the summit of Mount Washington. So I want to start the broadcast off today just by talking about what we saw throughout the day on Friday. It was a really changeable day up here on the summit. We had a lot of different and very interesting cloud decks develop overhead today, and so let's take a look at our time lapse here. If you really wants to cooperate with us today, here we go. Hopefully this works for us. Looks like it's having a little bit of trouble this evening. But anyways, today featured variable cloud covers. We had breaks of overcast as well as some occasional undercast as well. Very small cumulus clouds that developed just below the summit. We had a nice altocumulus mackerel shot, which I really wanted to show here, but it looks like our website's being a little bit slow. You can see some of the altocumulus actually there. Altocumulus mackerel, named after its appearance, and it looks a lot like fish scales, but it does actually indicate the presence of changeable weather approaching frontal systems. And so definitely an old rule is holding true for the upcoming forecast for the weekend. We've got a couple of cold fronts to talk about as we go forward. Really happy that the time lapse worked for you all at the end here. Carl, do you mind helping me exit out of this? Sorry. Awesome. All right, let's take a look now at current conditions up here on the summit of Mount Washington, of course. Pretty nice day overall. We've had high pressure and control for a lot of the week, especially over the last 48 hours or so. Wind speeds at the moment, 13 miles per hour from the west. We've got a nice return flow on the backside of the departing area of high pressure. It's setting the stage for a cold front that will approach the region tonight and especially tomorrow morning. Before we get there, let's talk about visibility. Up to about 70 miles or so, and temperatures right now not too bad for early October up here on the summit. Right around now, our average is about the mid-30s or so, but right now we're sitting pretty around 44 degrees. We saw a peak temperature of about 50 degrees this morning, so not a bad day. And winds as well, but pretty light, between 10 and 25 miles per hour throughout the day. Of course, there are some changes afoot. We can see here on our water vapor imagery here. You can see this nice trough here that's going to start developing when you get convergence to the surface. You also get precipitation and cloud cover. So in between these two features, we've got a cold front that's wedged right behind this band of clouds here. I'm going to highlight that as well here with my pen. We actually have something it's called a baroclitic leaf, which is typically one of the first stages of the development of a storm system. So basically that's what's going on at the moment. Again, a nice little shortwave trough. And if you look a little bit more closely, you can see some swirls in there indicating vorticity or just spin and energy in the atmosphere. So pretty energetic, but it's a tiny system moving through for the weekend. So it'll have a pretty limited impact in terms of timing as well as precipitation amounts. But still, we definitely need the rain up here on the summit. We're running well behind our average for the month of October. We ended September about 3 inches or so below average for precipitation. So yeah, it's been quite dry. It's helped the fall foliage colors up here in the North Country, but yeah, getting pretty sick of high pressure up here on the summit. We're looking for more exciting weather, and that's definitely going to be the case as we make our way through the weekend and the start of the work week. So without further ado, let's take a look now at what the computer models are showing for forecasts of weather going forward. So here's the North American mesoscale model, as I like to show every week. And we can see a band of showers developing. Again, I mentioned the upper level divergence ahead of that upper level trough. That's going to allow precipitation really to blossom across portions of western New York and southern Canada as well. And as we move the clock forward, these showers will be pretty slow to move in. This is just after midnight or so. We'll have the showers knocking on our door. Of course, clouds lowering and thickening to summit fog beforehand, so we'll probably cloud up pretty quickly after this broadcast this evening. And so we'll move the clock forward a little bit more here. We see showers continuing, but starting to become more widespread and more scattered in nature by the time the morning rolls around. This is right around 6 or so, and if we continue the clock forward, you can see those showers moving up pretty quickly. Now, what this model isn't showing is a likely chance for some continued upslope rain showers and some drizzle as well, which we expect to continue through most of the day Saturday, before gradually tapering off by the evening. This is by the afternoon. You can see the radar generally scanning pretty clear. You can see the models maybe picking up on a few scattered showers just near the White Mountains and the higher summits. We'll have some orographic lift associated with just some northwest flow. Temperatures will be falling pretty rapidly as well behind this front. We'll show that in just a couple of minutes here. But going forward through time, you can see a mostly clear night Saturday night. Not a whole lot in the way of precipitation to talk about, if any at all. Moving through the day, Sunday morning here. Not a whole lot to talk about, but yeah, yet another front moving through and approaching the area by Sunday afternoon and through the overnight. So we'll stop the clock there Sunday night. Showers right on our doorstep once again, right around 9 o'clock or so Sunday night. Let's take a look at how winds will evolve with this passing frontal system. Right now, they're pretty light, as I mentioned, only around 13 to 20 miles per hour or so. As we move the clock forward, we'll see those winds starting to ramp up a little bit, especially as the front passes through here. Load for me, that'd be great, awesome. And so we'll see the winds ramp up ahead of the front, more of a southwesterly, westerly wind ahead of that front. And then as soon as the front passes through, we get into those northwest winds. And with the falling temperatures, wind chills start to come into the mix as well. We'll see them falling throughout the overnight and through the day tomorrow, Saturday. But we get a nice strong northwest wind, much more in Mount Washington style there. We'll see winds sort of gradually weaken through the second half of Saturday. They might get pretty light overnight Saturday night as a brief area of high pressure starts to move overhead. You can see that actually just expressed here with the surface divergence there and the wind streams there. And we can see a pretty nice day Sunday, at least the first half, and then winds will gradually ramp up ahead of this next weather maker, that next cold front. And these winds look a lot stronger ahead of the next cold front. And we expect that next cold front to be much stronger than what we're going to see tomorrow on Saturday. And we'll keep the clock going forward. You can see some southerly winds ahead of that front. They gradually turn more southwesterly and westerly as we go through Sunday night. But again, that's a little bit out of our forecast range. But just know that the first part of next week up here on the summits, we'll see temperatures well below freezing, potentially down into the upper teens as well. So, we'll make up for our warm conditions that we saw most of this week. Looking at temperatures, I've talked a lot about them. So let's time these out for you folks here. We'll go to this evening, Friday evening. We see, again, generally pretty mild temperatures in the middle 40s or so, and then things quickly change as that front passes through. You can see the darker colors there indicating the passage of the front. And much colder air. This air back here is actually below freezing. That's in southern Canada. We might see some of that air start to move in, but this model is showing it getting pretty well modified as it makes its way to the south. But really, if it's freezing or just above freezing, it's not going to make a whole lot of a difference in terms of wind chills up here on the summit. So we'll continue the clock going forward through Saturday night. And we can see a bit of a slight moderating trend maybe towards daybreak Sunday as we have that area of high pressure and a plume of warmer air ahead of that next cold frontal system, which will be more of a reinforcing front later Sunday into the day on Monday. We can see those temperatures, cold temperatures really sticking around here in the higher summits, but a ton of warm air, again, ahead of that next cold front moving through. And by warm air, I mean temperatures near 40 or so, not warm by any stretch. And you should definitely be preparing for fall like hiking up here in the higher summits. So let's actually time out the daily forecast. Of course, you can find this forecast anytime. It's updated twice daily at mountwashington.org/forecast. This is our higher summits forecast. And I just want to remind you all, I encourage you all to read the discussions as well. Of course, we have these numbers fleshed out for you here on our website, but the discussion really just talks about what could go wrong with the forecast, some of the variables we're looking at. So if you're planning a hike, I'd certainly encourage you to, again, read that discussion. I'll step off my soapbox here and we'll talk about the daily details. So for the overnight tonight, we'll be mostly in the clouds. Under those mostly cloudy skies, and we'll see a slight chance of rain showers in the evening, but that chance will increase again overnight as that front starts to approach and that divergence aloft that I mentioned increases. Temperatures will fall back into the upper 30s or so, and winds will be pretty busy from the west shifting to the northwest, 15 to 30 miles per hour early. It's kind of where we are now. And things will ramp up pretty quickly, 30 to 45 with gusts up to 55 miles per hour after midnight, especially as that front is just passing through. And they'll also shift to the northwest. And wind chill values by the morning will be around 20 to 30 above. So definitely fall and even winter-like hiking conditions up here in the higher summits going into the day on Saturday. Unfortunately, starting the weekend off on a cold note. For the day on Saturday, not a whole lot of a surprise here. Mostly in the clouds of rain showers early. And those rain showers will be tapering to more of a slight chance of isolated rain showers and drizzle by the afternoon. It'll be a pretty raw, October day up here, pretty miserable as well. Unless you like the extreme weather like us, then you've probably been looking forward to this as well. So winds will be from the northwest, shifting to the north. All right, jumped ahead of myself there. Temperatures, they'll rise to around 40 degrees. Then they'll fall back a little bit, actually, as we go through the day Saturday. As that front passes through, we've got a lot of cold air advection occurring over the region. We'll be down to the mid-30s by sunset or so. Winds will be from the northwest, shifting north, 35 to 50 miles per hour, with gusts up to 60 miles per hour in the morning. Should make for some fun observations. You'll probably see me getting blown around on the observation deck and trying to find my footing, which would be pretty fun as well. And they'll decrease to 25 to 40 with gusts up to 50 miles per hour for the second half of the day. So a little bit lower, but definitely still maintaining a pretty cold wind chill. 20 to 30 above to start the day, and then falling all the way down to 15 to 25 above by sunset Saturday. So definitely a decreasing temperature trend and an increasingly dangerous scenario for those unprepared for conditions like that. So definitely you want to wear layers and prepare as if you're hiking in the fall or early winter up here on the summits. Saturday night, in and out of the clouds, trending towards clearing before midnight under decreasingly cloudy skies. Could bode well for some of the northern lights viewing. Of course, we don't explicitly forecast northern lights up here. You want to go to spaceweather.gov for those latest forecasts, but there's a pretty good chance for at least some at least scattered viewing of the northern lights in the northern New England region, but definitely don't want to forecast it explicitly. But anyways, temperatures will fall back into the lower 30s. Winds will be from the north at 20 to 35 miles per hour, decreasing to 10 to 25 miles per hour. We do expect that wind chill to hold pretty steady between 15 and 25 above throughout the overnight. And finally, for the day, Sunday, we'll be in the clear under increasingly cloudy skies. So we'll, trend right back into the clouds in classic Mount Washington fashion. And we'll see a slight chance of showers be introduced towards the evening, especially after dark or so. Highs will rise to near 40 degrees and winds will be changeable. We'll start from the northwest at around 5 to 20 miles per hour as that axis of high pressure passes right overhead. It may even be light and variable at times, Sunday morning especially. They'll increase somewhat and shift to the south at 15 to 25 during the midday hours and then ramp up pretty quickly. Shift more southwesterly at 20 to 35 miles per hour, gust up to 40 miles per hour later in the day. And wind chill values, they won't rise a whole lot, between 15 and 25 to start the day, and then rise a little bit to 20 to 30 above as those ambient air temperatures climb as well. That's about all I have for the upcoming forecast for the weekend. Of course, a pretty busy weekend of weather with multiple fronts passing through. And we'll start to have Sunday night and Monday in play for the forecast. So we'll get a taste of some of the colder conditions that we expect for the early start of the work week. So definitely keep an eye on that, as well as we do certainly expect things to change with some of the timing of these fronts. And with all of that said, I want to wish you all a happy, safe, and healthy weekend. Thanks again for watching.